Imagine you're seated in a magnificent room, decorated royally, surrounded by the elite. No expense at this gathering is spared. And then, amid all the laughter and cheer, out walk young boys, dressed in costume, makeup on their face. The music begins and they start to dance for all the adults in the room. Oh, and mind you, the room is full of rich, powerful men and men alone. This is the practice of Bacha Bazi. The term quite literally translates to boy play or playing with boys. It is a practice as old as time. But the changing political landscape of Afghanistan in the past few decades did not reduce the so-called elitist tradition. On the contrary, Bacha Bazi has been on the rise. The most horrifying part about this tradition isn't even the dancing. It's what happens after. These boys are taken to hotels or rooms where they're sexually abused and even raped. But where did this practice even begin? Why does it still exist? And why is it so normalized? In Afghanistan, women have long been banned from dancing in public. Many social gatherings in the past were also male-centric. Now, cities like Kabul had a more blended culture, with gender lines blurred for social interaction. But it was not normal in several parts of the country, especially the rural region. Gatherings and weddings held in remote Afghanistan and villages do not have women attendees, only men. Since women are banned from dancing in the public, that role was filled and still is filled by young boys who are made to dance in women's clothing. At times, they dance in their normal clothes too, their youth on full display for their owners and other men that prey on these children. Where do these boys come from? The answer is simple, yet horrifying and heartbreaking at the same time. All these boys are from a poor background, or worse, they are orphans. With no money, no family, they are the most vulnerable group in Afghanistan. And that's exactly what makes it easy for the rich and powerful predators to make these boys their slaves. In some circumstances, families who have no food and struggle to survive sell their children to these rich masters. There is little thought spared to what will be done to these boys, the trauma and abuse that they will be made to endure. For the rich and powerful, it's a hobby, a twisted tradition of sorts carried from one generation to the other. But just to be clear, Bacha Bazi is illegal under Afghan law. In the 1990s, the practice of Bacha Bazi was outlawed by the Taliban. Acts of sodomy, dancing and music have a death penalty. Even when American troops were in Afghanistan for 20 years, many reports and human rights organizations accused them of ignoring the systemic abuse of young boys by the powerful Afghani men, including police and local authorities. For American soldiers, the instructions were clear. There will be no intervention in what is the so-called local culture and practice. Intervention in the country's whole political and military structure, that was okay for Washington. And so the affluent and powerful Afghans, the local commanders, remained emboldened. Even after the fall of Kabul to Taliban and the group's return to power in August 2021, the practice is widely prevalent. The irony here is this: Taliban reinstated a ministry under its rule after its resurgence, bringing it back from the 90s. It is called the Ministry for the Propagation of Virtue and the Prevention of Vice. But this ministry only strangles women in the name of keeping in line with so-called Islamic law. But the Islamic law also considers child abuse illegal, just like it does sodomy. However, the implementation is only limited to one race, or to economically backward groups, to vulnerable groups. The issue of Bacha Bazi even today is spoken about in hushed, quiet tones by people. The authorities have barely acknowledged its existence in recent past. Some say it's shame, but most people say it's because the ones indulging in the practice are powerful and influential. To these men, keeping a Bacha Bairish, or a boy without a beard, is a sign of power and a reflection of their elite social status. The justice system is hollow, broken and hypocritical, to say the least. Even today, there is no clear data made public on how many children are abused under the so-called hobby and tradition of playing with boys or Bacha Bazi. But the question is, who will even release this data when many stakeholders and people in powerful positions in Afghanistan are actively participating in this crime of buying and enslaving young boys to objectify and sexually abuse them? Bacha Bazi is Afghanistan's open secret, one that carries a lot of hurt, trauma, abuse, and fear in the hearts of those who speak out. But so far, there is no justice. And even the hope for it is very bleak.